Good evening to you all, and welcome to today's teaching. So we've seen in chapter 6, where everything has just been shaken. Your foundation, your beliefs, your identity, everything that could not stand has fallen. The seed seal revealed the collapse of perception, the exposure of illusion, and the question, what can remain? And in that moment, it felt like everything was ending. But now, something unexpected happens. There is a pause. Not because the process has stopped, but because something must be preserved. Before the final unfolding, before the last seal is opened, there is a moment of sealing. A moment where what is true, what is aligned, what has remained is marked, protected, recognized, and established. Chapter 6 asked, who can stand? Chapter 7 answers, those who are aligned. This is not about separation, exclusion, or favoritism. This is about identification, seeing clearly what remains after everything false is gone. So as we enter chapter 7, don't look for judgment. Look for preservation. Don't look for division. Look for recognition. Because what is about to be revealed is not distraction. It is protection of what is true. A marking, a sealing, a confirmation that what is aligned cannot be shaken. Revelation 7 verse 1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And after these things, after the shaking comes stillness. This is not random. Chapter 6 equals disruption. Chapter 7 equals pause, a necessary transition. I saw 4 angels. Angels equals expressions or functions of awareness. So this becomes 4 stabilizing forces within awareness. Standing on the 4 corners of the earth. 4 is completeness. Earth is lived experience. This is complete stabilization across your entire life. Not partial, every area. Your thoughts, emotions, actions, and identity, all held in place. Holding the 4 winds of the earth. Movement is being restrained. The winds represent change, disruption, and movement of events. So this becomes everything is being paused. That the wind should not blow. No further disturbance. After all the intensity, nothing moves. On the earth, your lived experience. Nor on the sea, your emotional realm. Nor on any tree, your growth, expression, and life structure. Every level of your being is held still. Your external life, internal emotions, and personal growth all paused. What this verse is really saying, after a deep transformation and the collapse of old perception, awareness enters a state of complete stillness, where all movement, change, and disturbance are temporarily restrained across every aspect of your being. The deep pattern. This reveals, after transformation comes stillness. Not more chaos. Pause. And stillness is intentional, not inactivity, preparation. And everything is held in place so that what remains can be established. Relationship example. After intense realization, you may experience a period of stillness. In career, after major clarity, you may experience a pause before the next step. The self. After deep transformation, you may experience silence within. There is a moment after everything has been shaken, after everything has been revealed, after everything has been released, where nothing moves, no striving, no pushing, no unfolding, just stillness. A quiet sacred pause where every part of you is held, not in chaos, but in peace. And in that stillness, something is happening, not outwardly, but deeply. Because before what is true can fully emerge, it must be established. Verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. And I saw another angel. A new function of awareness appears, different from the ones holding the wings. This one brings identification. Ascending from the east. East is where the sun rises, the direction of illumination. The east represents awakening, light appearing, and new clarity. So this becomes a new level of awareness is rising within you, having the seal of the living God. Seal is mark or identification, the mark of what is true. This is powerful. This awareness recognizes what is aligned with truth, not creating truth, identifying it. The living God represents living awareness or truth itself. So this becomes the ability within you to recognize what is real. And he cried with a loud voice. This is clear and undeniable, not subtle, strong recognition. To the four angels, to the forces holding everything still, the same ones controlling movement and preventing disturbance, they are being addressed. To whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. The forces that caused the previous shaking, the same forces that disrupted your perception and brought transformation, are now being instructed. What this verse is really saying, a new level of awareness arises within you that is able to recognize and identify what is truly aligned, calling for a pause in transformation so that what is real can be clearly marked and established. The deep pattern. This reveals, after disruption comes recognition, not more shaking, identification. And awareness distinguishes what is real. Not everything remains, only what is aligned. And transformation pauses for clarity, not constant change, moment of marking. Relationship example. After everything shifts, you begin to clearly see what is real and what is not. In career, after transformation, you begin to recognize what truly aligns with you. The self. After letting go, you begin to know what remains is your truth. There is a moment after everything has been shaken, after everything has been revealed, after everything false has fallen away, where something within you rises, quietly but powerfully, a knowing, a clarity that does not question, that does not hesitate, that simply sees what is real. And in that moment, everything pauses, not because nothing is happening, but because something must be recognized. Because before what is true can fully emerge, it must be seen for what it is. Verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. Saying, clear instruction is given, not suggestion, directive. This is guidance from within awareness. Hurt not the earth. Do not disrupt your lived experience further. After all the shaking, no more disturbance. Neither the sea. Do not disturb your emotional state. No more turmoil and emotional upheaval. Peace is being preserved. Nor the trees. Do not disrupt your growth and expression. Trees represent life, growth, and outward expression. So this becomes protect what is growing within you till we have sealed. Sealed is marked or secured. This is key. Transformation pauses until alignment is secured. The servants of our God. Servants represents those aligned. These are the parts of you that are aligned with truth. Not external people. Aligned aspects of awareness. In their foreheads. Forehead represents mind or perception. In your awareness, what is true is established in how you see, not just behavior or actions. Perception itself is transformed. What this verse is really saying, after deep transformation, awareness pauses further disruption in order to fully establish and secure what is aligned with truth within your perception, ensuring that it becomes stable and recognized. The deep pattern. This reveals Transformation pauses for stabilization, not constant change, establishment. And truth must be secured in perception, not temporary insight, lasting awareness. And what is aligned is protected. Not everything, only what is true. Important insight. This is crucial. This moment is not about distraction or judgment. It is about protection. What has survived the shaking must now be established. Relationship example. After clarity, you begin to protect what is truly aligned. In career, after realization, you begin to build on what is real. The self. After transformation, you begin to stabilize your new awareness. There is a moment after everything has been shaken, after everything has fallen away, where nothing more is taken, nothing more is removed, nothing more is disrupted. Everything is held gently, intentionally, so that what remains, what is true, what is aligned, can be established, not temporarily, but deeply. Because what has survived the storm is now being secured. Now we step into one of the most misunderstood passages. Many read this as a literal number, but this is deeply symbolic. Verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And I heard the number. This is symbolic measurement, not counting people, revealing completeness. In Revelation, numbers are not random. They communicate meaning. Of them which are sealed, those who are fully aligned and established in truth, not external individuals, states of awareness. These are parts of you and aspects of perception that remain aligned after transformation. 144,000. Symbolic breakdown of this number. The number 12 represents completeness, which are tribes or structure of awareness. 12 times 12 equals 144, a complete structure established. 1,000 represents fullness or magnitude. So this becomes 144,000, complete and fully established awareness. Not people. Not a literal number of people. Total alignment of all the tribes. Tribes are divisions or groups. These are all aspects of your awareness. Not one part, every part. Each tribe represents different expressions and different functions, all brought into alignment. Of the children of Israel, this is aligned awareness that has overcome. Israel represents consciousness that has moved through struggle and arrived at alignment. Remember, Jacob was renamed Israel after he wrestled with a man. So Israel has nothing to do with ethnicity. Israel in scriptures has nothing to do with ethnicity. It is aligned awareness that has overcome. Children represent expressions or manifestations. So children of Israel represent all aspects of your awareness that have been transformed and established in truth. What this verse is really saying, a complete and fully established state of awareness is revealed, where every aspect of your perception has been aligned with truth and secured after the process of transformation. The deep pattern, this reveals transformation leads to completeness, not partial alignment, full alignment. And all aspects of awareness are included, not just some parts, everything. And this is the result of the process. After shaking, release, and recognition, there is establishment. Important insight. This is where many misunderstand. They see a literal 144,000 people and exclusivity. But what this is actually showing is the fullness of aligned awareness, not limited, complete. Relationship example. You are no longer partially aligned. You see clearly in all aspects. In career, you are no longer conflicted. You operate from clarity. The self, you are no longer fragmented. You are whole. There is a moment after everything has been shaken, after everything has fallen away, after what is true has been recognized, where something becomes complete, not partially, not in fragments, but fully. Every part of you, every aspect of your awareness, every layer of your perception comes into alignment. No division, no confusion, no contradiction, only wholeness. And in that wholeness, you begin to understand that what you have become is not fragmented, but complete. Now we see the listing of the tribes. At first glance, it looks like a simple list, but this is actually mapping the structure of aligned awareness. Verse 5, the first tribe. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Judah, the first aspect of aligned awareness. This is recognition and alignment with truth. Judah represents praise, acknowledgement, or alignment, but not in a surface way. Deep recognition of what is real. This is powerful. The first thing established in awareness is the ability to recognize truth. Not analyze it, recognize it. We're sealed. This recognition is established and secured. Not temporary insight, stable awareness. You don't go back and forth anymore. You see clearly. 12,000. The number 12 represents completeness or structure. 1,000 is fullness or magnitude. This is fully established recognition, not partial, complete alignment in this aspect. What this verse is really saying, the first aspect of fully aligned awareness is the complete and stable ability to recognize and align with truth. The deep pattern, This first stripe reveals alignment begins with recognition, not action first, seeing clearly, and truth must be acknowledged, not ignored, recognized. And this recognition becomes stable, not temporary, established. Important insight. The first stripe is not strength, action, or authority. It is recognition. Because without recognizing truth, nothing else can follow. Relationship example. You begin to recognize what is truly aligned. In career, you begin to see clearly what is right for you. The self, you begin to recognize your true nature. There is a moment at the beginning of alignment where everything becomes clear, not gradually, but unmistakably, where you no longer question, no longer doubt, no longer go back and forth. You simply see. You see truth for what it is. And in that moment, something within you settles because recognition is the beginning of alignment. Now the structure begins to build layer by layer. It started with Judah, recognition of truth. Now it moves into the next aspect of aligned awareness. Verse 6. Of the tribe of Reuben were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben, after recognition, Judah, now comes clear perception. Reuben represents awareness that sees, perception that is no longer distorted. So this becomes, you begin to see clearly, not just recognize truth, but perceive it accurately, not through bias, assumption, or old filters, but directly. Were still 12,000. This clear perception is fully established. Not occasional clarity, consistent awareness. Of the tribe of Gad. Gad means troop, or movement, or overcoming. This is the movement of aligned awareness. After recognizing truth and seeing clearly, now awareness begins to move forward. God represents momentum, progression, and forward movement. So this becomes, you begin to act from what you now see. Not just awareness, aligned movement. We're still 12,000. This movement is fully established. Not hesitation, confidence in alignment. What this verse is really saying, after recognizing truth, you begin to see clearly and consistently. And from that clarity, your awareness moves forward in aligned action, fully established in both perception and movement. The deep pattern. This next stage reveals recognition leads to clear perception. Not just knowing, seeing. And perception leads to movement, not passive, active alignment. And both become established, not temporary, stable awareness. Important insight. This builds beautifully. First, Judah, recognize truth. Reuben, see clearly. Gad, move in alignment. This is the natural flow of awakening. Relationship example. You recognize truth, see clearly, then you act differently. In career, you understand your path, then you begin to move toward it. The self, you see who you are, then you begin to live from it. There is a progression, a natural unfolding, where awareness does not stay still. It moves. First, you recognize, then you see clearly, and then you move. Not randomly, not impulsively, but in alignment. And in that movement, you begin to experience something new. Not just understanding, but living what you now understand. We've seen Judah, recognition, Reuben, clear perception, Gad, movement in alignment. Now we go deeper into the inner structure of awareness. Verse 7. Of the tribe of Asher were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher, alignment produces inner fulfillment. After recognizing truth, seeing clearly, and moving in alignment, there is a natural result, peace and fulfillment. Not false happiness, a quiet sense of alignment within. Asher represents inner contentment, ease, and flow. So this becomes, you begin to experience peace because you are aligned. Where still 12,000, this fulfillment becomes stable, not temporary, consistent inner peace. Of the tribe of Naphtali, awareness that has moved through struggle. This is powerful. Alignment is not without tension, it comes through it. Naphtali represents inner wrestling, overcoming challenges, and processing tension. So this becomes, you have faced internal conflict and moved through it. Not avoiding it, transcending it. Where still 12,000, this overcoming is fully established. You don't fall back into the same struggles. You've moved beyond them. Of the tribe of Manasseh, this is release of the past. After struggle and overcoming, now comes letting go. Manasseh represents no longer holding onto past identity, no longer being defined by what was. So this becomes, you are no longer bound by what you used to be. We're still 12,000. This release is complete, not partial, fully free. What this verse is really saying, as awareness continues to align, you experience inner fulfillment, move through and overcome internal struggles, and fully release the past, becoming free from what once defined you. The deep pattern. This stage reveals alignment produces peace, not forced, natural. And growth comes through struggle, not avoiding tension, moving through it. And freedom comes through release, not holding on, letting go. This is powerful progression. Asher, peace. Naphtali, overcoming struggle. Manasseh, release. This is emotional and internal freedom. Relationship example. You find peace. You move through challenges. Then you no longer hold on to past pain. In career, You face difficulty, but you grow through it and move forward. The self. You process your past, then you are no longer defined by it. There is a moment after clarity, after movement, after facing what was within, where something softens. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you are aligned. You move through the struggle, not avoiding it, but understanding it. And as you move through it, something begins to fall away. The past, the weight, the identity you once carried no longer holds you. And in that moment, you begin to experience something deeper than happiness, freedom. Everything we've seen so far has been building recognition, perception, movement, peace, overcoming, and release. Now we arrive at completion, how aligned awareness fully expresses itself. Verse 8. Of the tribe of Simeon were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were still 12,000. We start with Simeon. Simeon means hearing. This is deep listening, not surface hearing, inner awareness that truly listens. After everything you've gone through, you are no longer reacting, you are attentive. Next, Levi. Levi means joined or connected. This is union with truth. No separation. You are aligned and connected. Issachar. Issachar means reward or understanding. Understanding the times and what to do. This represents discernment in action, not guessing, knowing. Zebulun. Zebulun means dwelling. This is abiding in alignment, not visiting truth, living from it. Next, Joseph. Joseph means increase. This is expansion of awareness, not static, growing in clarity. Benjamin. Benjamin means son of the right hand, authority. This is established authority in awareness, not uncertainty, confidence in truth. We're sealed 12,000 for each. Each of these aspects is fully established, not partial, complete. What this verse is really saying, aligned awareness reaches full expression through deep listening, connection to truth, discernment, consistent alignment, expansion, and established authority, with each aspect fully stabilized and integrated. The full structure of the 144,000 now complete. Let's step back and see the full flow. Recognition, Judah. Clear perception, Reuben. Movement, Gad. Peace, Asher. Overcoming, Naphtali. Release, Manasseh. Listening, Simeon. Union, Levi. Discernment, Issachar. Abiding, Zebulun. Expansion, Joseph. Authority, Benjamin. This is the complete structure of aligned awareness. The deep pattern. This reveals alignment is multidimensional. Not one trait, a full structure. And each aspect builds on the previous. not random, intentional progression. And the result is complete awareness, not fragmented, whole. Important insight. This is not about tribes, ethnicity, or literal groups. This is about the full formation of awareness. Relationship example. You now listen deeply, stay aligned, and respond with clarity. In career, you now understand what to do, act with confidence, and grow consistently. The self, you are now connected to truth. You live from it and move with authority. There is a place where nothing within you is fragmented anymore, where every part of you, every layer of your awareness, every aspect of your being moves together. You no longer struggle to understand. You no longer question your direction. You no longer shift between clarity and confusion. You are established in truth, in awareness, in alignment. And from that place, everything you do, everything you see, everything you become flows from wholeness. Now the vision expands beyond structure into fullness. We just saw the 144,000, complete alignment, structured awareness, and established truth. Now something greater appears. Verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. After this I beheld. After alignment comes expansion, not the end, a new level. A great multitude which no man could number. This means countless, beyond measure. This is infinite expression of awareness. The 144,000 was structured and defined, but this is limitless. This represents awareness expanding beyond structure into fullness. Of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, all groups, all differences, every expression of awareness, not limited to one perspective or one identity. Everything is included. All thoughts, perspectives, and expressions unified. Stood before the throne in full awareness, centered in clarity and truth. Nothing outside of awareness. And before the Lamb, in surrendered alignment, not resisting, flowing with truth. Clothed with white robes, purified identity, not old patterns, transformed awareness. And palms in their hands, victory and celebration. This is victory through alignment, not struggle, completion. What this verse is really saying, after awareness becomes fully aligned and structured, it expands into limitless expression, where every aspect of perception is unified in clarity and surrender, reflecting a state of complete transformation and victory. The deep pattern. This reveals alignment leads to expansion, not limitation, fullness. And awareness becomes inclusive, not divided, unified. And transformation results in victory, not struggle, completion. Relationship example. You are no longer limited in perspective. You see fully. In career, You are no longer restricted in thinking. You operate expansively. The self. You are no longer defined by one identity. You are multidimensional. There is a moment after alignment, after clarity, after everything has been established, where awareness expands beyond structure, beyond definition, beyond limitation into fullness, where nothing is excluded, nothing is separate, nothing is divided, everything is one. And in that oneness, you begin to see that what you have become is not limited, not contained, but infinite in its expression. Now the great multitude speaks. This is the expression of everything that has been aligned and expanded. Now it is declared. Verse 10. And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb. And cried with a loud voice. This is a clear, undeniable expression. Not quiet, fully realized awareness speaking. Every part of aligned awareness now expresses what it has come to know. Salvation. Salvation is deliverance or restoration. This is restoration to alignment. Not being saved from something external, but returning to truth. This represents clarity, wholeness, and alignment to our God, to truth itself, not an external figure, the source of awareness, which sitteth upon the throne, the center of awareness. The throne represents clarity, perception, and awareness. So this becomes all alignment flows from awareness and unto the Lamb, and through surrendered awareness. So this becomes restoration happens through aligned, surrendered awareness. What this verse is really saying, fully aligned awareness expresses the realization that true restoration comes from the center of awareness itself, through a state of surrendered clarity and alignment with truth. The deep pattern. This reveals alignment produces expression, not silence, declaration. And restoration is internal, not external rescue. Return to truth. And awareness is the source, not outside you, within you. Relationship example. You realize clarity and alignment bring peace, not external validation. In career, you realize true success comes from alignment, not external outcomes. The self, you realize you are whole when you are aligned. There is a moment when everything within you, everything you have seen, everything you have moved through, everything you have become finds its voice, not in confusion, not in uncertainty, but in clarity. A declaration not learned, but realized that what you were seeking was never outside of you. It was always within you, in awareness, in surrender, in alignment. And in that realization, you no longer search, you simply know. Now the response expands again. The great multitude has declared truth. Now all of awareness responds in agreement. Verse 11. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders, and the four living creatures, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshipped God. and all the angels, all expressions of awareness, not some, everything within you, every thought, every perception, every realization, all aligned, stood round about the throne, centered around awareness. Everything is now grounded and focused, nothing scattered. And about the elders, your mature understanding, your experience fully aligned with truth. And the four living creatures, your core expressions of awareness, perception, strength, discipline, and vision, all in agreement. And fell before the throne, total alignment, not forced, natural surrender. On their faces, full humility before truth. Nothing elevated above awareness. Everything aligns under it. And worshiped God, complete focus on truth. Not divided attention, centered awareness. What this verse is really saying, all aspects of awareness, understanding, and perception come into complete alignment, fully centered on truth, resulting in a state of unified clarity and surrender. The deep pattern. This reveals alignment becomes total, not partial, everything. And awareness becomes centered, not scattered, focused. And surrender becomes natural, not forced, effortless alignment. Relationship example. You are no longer conflicted. You respond from clarity. In career, you are no longer scattered. You operate with focus. The self, you are no longer divided. You are aligned. There is a moment when nothing within you resists anymore. No thought pulling in different directions. No emotions creating conflict. No confusion clouding your perception. Everything settles gently, naturally into alignment. Not because you forced it, but because truth has been fully seen. And in that moment, there is no striving, no seeking, no searching, only presence, fully aware, fully aligned, fully at peace. Verse 12, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. Amen. Amen means truth. It is so. This is complete agreement. No doubt, no resistance. Everything within you confirms what is real. Blessing, this is alignment and harmony. A state where everything flows naturally. Glory, recognition of truth, not hidden, fully seen. Wisdom, understanding in action, not just knowing, living it. Thanksgiving, gratitude for clarity, not forced, natural appreciation for truth. Honor, value placed on truth, not ego. Truth is central. Power, authority within awareness, not control over others, control within yourself. Might, stability and strength, not easily shaken, firm and grounded. Be unto our God, to truth itself. Everything is recognized as flowing from awareness. Forever and ever, timeless alignment, not temporary, established. Amen again, final confirmation. Nothing more to question, fully realized. What this verse is really saying, all aspects of aligned awareness come into complete agreement, expressing a state of harmony, clarity, wisdom, gratitude, strength, and stability, fully centered in truth and established beyond change. The deep pattern. This chapter reveals after transformation comes establishment, not chaos, stability. And alignment becomes complete, not partial, whole. And truth becomes your foundation, not something you visit, something you live from. There is a place beyond the shaking, beyond the releasing, beyond the questioning, where everything settles, where truth is no longer something you are searching for, but something you are rooted in, where awareness is no longer fragmented, but whole, where nothing within you resists, nothing within you doubts, nothing within you pulls away from what is real. Everything agrees. A quiet agreement, a deep knowing, a final recognition that truth is not something you reach. It is something you become aligned with. And in that alignment, there is nothing left to prove, nothing left to chase, only clarity. Up to this point, everything has aligned. Everything has declared. Everything has confirmed. Now a question is introduced. Verse 13. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? And one of the elders answered, mature awareness speaks. The elders represent developed understanding and refined perception. So this becomes wisdom is guiding you deeper. Saying unto me, this is personal, not general teaching, direct awareness addressing you. What are these? A question of recognition, not confusion, clarity seeking deeper understanding. This is asking, do you truly understand what you are seeing? Which are arrayed in white robes, those who are aligned and purified. White robes represent transformed awareness, clarity, and alignment. So this becomes, do you understand what this state of awareness truly is? And whence came they? Understanding the process, not just seeing the result, knowing how it came to be. This is powerful. It's asking, do you understand the journey that led here? What this verse is really saying, mature awareness invites you to reflect more deeply, not only recognizing aligned awareness, but understanding its origin and the process that led to its transformation. The deep pattern. This reveals awareness moves from seeing to understanding, not just observing, comprehending. And true understanding includes origin, not just result, process. And wisdom asks questions to deepen clarity, not to confuse, to expand awareness. Even after alignment and realization, there is still deeper understanding. Relationship example. You don't just see what is aligned. You ask, how did we get here? In career, you don't just see success. You understand the journey behind it. The self. You don't just see who you are now. You understand how you became this. There is a moment after clarity, after alignment, after everything has been revealed, where a question is asked, not to challenge you, but to deepen you. A question that does not ask, what do you see? But instead, do you understand? Not just the outcome, but the journey. Not just the result, but the process. Because true awareness is not only about seeing clearly, it is about knowing deeply. Verse 14. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. This is recognition of deeper wisdom. This is humility. You acknowledge that deeper understanding is needed. Not assuming you already know, open to revelation. These are they which came out of great tribulation. Tribulation is pressure or difficulty. They came through intense transformation, not comfort, pressure. This represents inner conflict, emotional intensity, and deep questioning. The process we saw in the seals. So this becomes aligned awareness is formed through challenge, not avoidance. And have washed their robes. Robes is identity. Washed is cleansed. Identity has been purified. Not added to, cleansed of what is not true. This represents releasing false beliefs and letting go of old identity. This is becoming clear. And made them white, fully aligned awareness. White represents clarity, truth, or purity. So this becomes identity is now aligned with truth. In the blood of the Lamb. Blood is life or essence. Lamb is surrendered awareness. Transformation happens through letting go of ego and aligning with truth. Not force, surrender. So this becomes your identity becomes clear through surrendering what is not true. What this verse is really saying, aligned awareness is formed through deep inner transformation and challenge, where identity is purified by releasing what is not true, resulting in a clear and aligned state through surrender to truth. The deep pattern. This reveals transformation comes through pressure, not avoidance. Facing what is within. And identity is purified, not built up, cleansed. And surrender is the key, not control, letting go. Relationship example. You grow through challenges and conflict and become more aligned. In career, you develop through pressure and learning and become clearer in direction. The self. You transform through letting go and facing truth and become your true self. There is a moment when you realize that clarity did not come easily, that alignment did not come effortlessly. It came through something deeper, through pressure, through challenge, through facing what was within you. And in that process, something was washed away, not added, removed. The layers, the beliefs, the identity that was never truly you. And what remained was not something new, but something real. Because truth is not something you become, it is something you uncover. Verse 15. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. Therefore, because of the process, this is the result. Not random. This is what transformation leads to. Are they before the throne of God? They live in awareness. The throne represents clarity, perception, and awareness. So this becomes they are fully present in truth, not visiting awareness occasionally, living from it. And serve him. Serve is align or respond. They live in alignment with truth, not forced obedience, natural alignment. Their thoughts, their actions, and their responses flow from awareness. Day and night, continuously. Consistent awareness, not sometimes aligned, sometimes unaware, steady. In all states, clarity day, uncertainty night, awareness remains. In his temple, within their being. The temple represents your inner self. So this becomes alignment is internal, not external. And he that sitteth on the throne, truth itself, the source of awareness, fully present, shall dwell among them. Truth lives within you, not separate, integrated. No distance between you and awareness, oneness. What this verse is really saying, after deep transformation, awareness becomes a constant state where you live fully aligned with truth. And that truth is no longer separate from you, but fully present and integrated within your being. The deep pattern. This reveals transformation leads to consistency, not temporary clarity, stable awareness. And alignment becomes natural, not forced effort, effortless flow. And truth becomes integrated, not something outside you, something within you. Relationship example, you respond from awareness consistently. In career, you operate from clarity in every situation. The self, you are no longer separate from truth, you live from it. There is a place where awareness is no longer something you return to, but something you remain in. Where alignment is no longer something you try to maintain, but something that flows naturally. Where truth is no longer something you search for, but something that lives within you. And in that place, there is no separation, no distance, no effort to become, only being, fully present, fully aware, fully aligned. Now we see the deep inner result of full alignment. Everything has led here. The shaking, the release, the purification, the alignment. Now we see what no longer exists. Verse 16, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. They shall hunger no more. Hunger is lack or craving. No more inner lack. Hunger represents searching, emptiness, needing something to feel complete. So this becomes, you are no longer seeking fulfillment outside yourself. Neither thirst anymore. Thirst is desire or longing. No more restless longing. Thirst represents chasing, wanting something more and feeling incomplete. So this becomes, you are no longer driven by unmet desire. Neither shall the sun light on them. Sun is intense exposure. No more overwhelming intensity. Earlier, the sun was harsh and exposing. Now, you are no longer overwhelmed by truth. You are stable and grounded. Nor any heat. Heat is pressure or intensity. No more inner pressure. Heat represents stress, emotional intensity, and internal strain. So this becomes, you are no longer under inner tension. What this verse is really saying, in full alignment, the sense of inner lack, restless desire, overwhelming intensity, and internal pressure are no longer present, as awareness has become stable, complete, and at peace within itself. The deep pattern. This reveals alignment removes inner lack, not adding more, becoming whole. And desire transforms into fulfillment, not chasing, resting. And pressure gives way to peace, not tension, stability. Relationship example. You are no longer seeking validation. You are already fulfilled. In career, you are no longer chasing success for identity. You operate from clarity. The self, you are no longer trying to become. You are. There is a place where the search ends. Not because there is nothing left to find, but because you have found what you are looking for. Where the longing fades. Not because desire is gone, but because fulfillment is present. Where the pressure lifts. Not because life has stopped, but because you are no longer resisting it. And in that place, there is no hunger, no thirst, no striving to become, only being complete, whole, at peace. The result, inner fulfillment and peace. Everything has led to this moment, the shaking, the sealing, the alignment, the fulfillment. Now we see the final state. Verse 17, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne, surrendered awareness at the center of your being. The Lamb equals surrender. The throne equals awareness. So this becomes your awareness is now guided by surrender to truth, not ego, alignment. Shall feed them. This is nourished or sustained. You are nourished from within, not externally, from awareness itself. This means everything you need for clarity and growth comes from within. And shall lead them, guided direction, not confusion, clear movement. You are no longer guessing or searching. You are led by awareness. Unto living fountains of waters. Living water is life or flow. Continuous flow of awareness and life. Not stagnant, alive. This represents ongoing clarity, continuous growth, and inner renewal. So this becomes, awareness becomes a living, flowing experience within you. And God shall wipe away all tears. This is remove sorrow. Release of all inner pain, not suppressed, resolved. This represents healing, peace, and completion. From their eyes, from perception itself, not just emotion, how you see. So this becomes Even your way of seeing is now free from pain and distortion. What this verse is really saying, in full alignment, awareness guided by surrender becomes a continuous source of nourishment, clarity, and direction, leading to a state of inner flow and complete healing, where all pain and distortion in perception are removed. The deep pattern, awareness becomes self-sustaining, not dependent within, and guidance becomes clear, not confusion, flow, and healing becomes complete, not partial, fully resolved. Relationship example, you are no longer dependent for fulfillment. You give and receive from wholeness. In career, you are no longer lost. You move with clarity. The self, you are no longer in pain from your past. You are healed in how you see. There is a place where nothing within you is searching anymore, where clarity does not come and go, where guidance is not uncertain but constant. A place where awareness itself becomes your nourishment, your direction, your source. And in that place, there is no pain left to process, no tears left to carry, no distortion left in how you see, only clarity, a quiet, living, flowing awareness that sustains you, guides you, and keeps you. Revelation chapter 7 is complete. Awareness fully aligned, nourished, and at peace. Thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next teaching.